Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV. It is just under 2 minutes until this fantastic live stream is going to be in your eyes and in your ears. And I promise you, because all the content we do is really good, that it is going to be absolutely worth the wait. We are just now checking our microphone levels, making sure the internet's okay and it's not going to go kaboom on us at any point. We've got the new compressors for the audio, so we're not spiking and not hurting your ears. In the meantime, you can of course check out this incredible piece of Red Men TV merch that we designed. I think you'll agree it's absolutely brilliant. Obviously I recorded this ages ago, so it could be literally anything, but I'm sure it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, don't forget as well, we've got our own streaming platform, that is Red Men Plus. Red Men Plus is the home of Red Men TV and has absolutely everything we do there, from in-depth documentary series to more relaxed podcast stuff like we do on the main channel on YouTube. So yeah, it's not going to be long now. It's around about 50 seconds. At this point, peek behind the curtain, what is normally happening is we're all panicking. I normally need a piss, to be quite honest with you at this point, and then have to run off. And Tom's normally sat in the room going, what's he doing? I've got no idea. Where's he gone? And it's always for a wee, because I've got a really small bladder and I can only last about 40 minutes normally, which is hell when you go and watch a Liverpool game, because they're 45 minutes off, especially when you've had a pint. But it is what it is, and we live where we live, and we've got to deal with what we've got to deal with. And I promise you that this content is coming up in less than 11 seconds time. And yeah, it's 9, it's 8, it's 7, it's 6, it's 5, it's 4, it's 3, it's 2, it's 1. Here's your content.
Hello everyone, what's happening? Welcome, it is Thursday Night Pint. What's going on? We've got some fantastic guests, as always, in the studio to talk through all the things around Liverpool Football Club. This week we're going to be picking an all-time Jurgen Klopp 11. Who are the best 11 players to play for Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp? We are going to be rating your football takes. Will we have the foam thumbs available for that? We'll find out, because we certainly haven't got them on the set at the moment. And we're also going to be previewing Man City versus Liverpool as the Reds return to action in the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Oh, God. Right, yes. Anyway, before we introduce our guests, before we dive into it, it's time to have a look back at the week in Liverpool. And of course, as we all know, the Reds all jetted off on international duty. And now they're back. Anyway, the Reds returned to the AXA. They returned to training. And what we did get to see was a very, very welcome return indeed to training for Luis Diaz. Finally back on the training pitch, easing himself closer to starting action for the first time since he got injured against Arsenal. What feels like 4 fucking years ago. We also saw that Darwin Núñez, having missed out from Uruguay action with an ankle cut, is also in training. And Cody Gakpo, who the last time we spoke of him had missed Netherlands training because of a dodgy curry. He returned to action for the Netherlands coming off the bench. He was back in action. It still remains to be seen whether the same is true of his toilet. Yeah. Liverpool fans allowed themselves to dream, dared to dream for a few moments of another top quality centre-back joining the football club on a free transfer, with Dave Maddox, rumour that Evan Ndicka was going to be joining the Reds on a Bosman at the end of the season. It, however, lasted just 24 hours as our very own Neil Jones on our very own Journo Inside show shut it down with his pesky Liverpool sources. Don't let sources get in the way of a good story. There's no disrespect to Dave, who we absolutely adore. But yeah, Neil Jones has absolutely ended all chance of getting some clicks over that for the next few days, weeks and months. it is what it is. Don't shoot the messenger. Right, okay. Finally, in a little bit of news leaning towards the weekend, Erling Haaland missed Norway's international break games with a groin injury. He was sent home after being tested by the Norwegian doctors to continue his recuperation back in Manchester. He was, however, not in Manchester City training today, which leads us all inexorably toward the fact that he's absolutely going to be starting at 12 on Saturday. Of course he is. Of course he is. There's simply no chance that he doesn't play in that game. We're not stupid, Pep. We see through you. We see it clear as day. Clear as day. No way that he's not starting in that game. Right. Sad. That was the week in Liverpool. Hopefully there'll be a bit more going on between now and next week's Thursday Night Pint. Hopefully some more smiles. We will certainly be trying our best to bring some smiles to your faces tonight before the Reds can, potentially either make them even bigger or totally fucking ruin them with games against Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal all looming on the horizon. Without further ado then, let me introduce my first guest for this evening. It is, of course, Mr. Stephen Hoare. Yeah. Well, I was going to call you Stephen Hoare based on our discussions pre-show. Some people don't like it when you shout Hoare.
No, I had a guy in next who couldn't say my surname, so he was like, Mr. Hoare, which I thought was quite funny. Like he was cheering me. Oh, I only get called Stephen, like by my mum if I've been naughty. Like it's been a while since I got called Stephen.
Yeah. What does that say about your performance today?
Yeah, I'm in the bad books already. Yeah.
Someone who's always in the bad books, but in the good books in our hearts. It is my other co-host with the Mo host. It is Mr. Chris Pajak! Vintage, that?
I know it is.
Where's that come from?
Upstairs.
You brought it down. You brought a scarf downstairs.
Well, no, Jaggs had brought a scarf in to whiz round his head, so I thought, well, I go in before Jaggs, so I'll whiz.
So you just robbed this. You robbed his scarf.
No, his scarf's
Oh, he's got a scarf.
Mine.
All right, it's actually yours.
Yeah. It
What's
was
it
my
smell
cousin's. He sent it to me. He found it in his loft from, I don't know whether it was 70s or 80s or something.
Did he send it from further away than your microphone was from your face there?
Yeah, he didn't, unfortunately. I had sweatbands as well, but I've put them around my ankles because, the old blood doesn't flow very well anymore.
Wow. It's hard on around the back shit guy anyway. First of our special guests of the night is the lead singer of our favourite band on planet Earth, the geniuses behind Si Senor and all the wonderful work done for
It'd be nice if you wore one of their band t-shirts on tonight's show, but
do they have band t-shirt? To be fair, let's not get into it. Given that I've done the artwork for one of their APs and lent them my Liverpool shirts for the other one, I've done my fair part, Chris. Okay. My fair part. It is Dave Jaggs!
Hey, Jack stole your thunder.
Let's see your scarf. You can't sit down, it's fine. I mean, it's a great view of your cock. You just get on there into the audience there.
That's what they pay the big bucks for.
Is that a silky?
It is a silky, yeah. Have a look.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, you like that. You're not that old, Dave. Where's this come from?
That's a reissue from about 2007. I think, yeah.
Great, that.
It's not bad, is it?
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Lovely stuff.
Oh, that was much better.
That was closer. Quality, well, we'll talk to Dave in a second. Finally, our other very special guest for the night is a man, I don't think the best way to introduce him, star of Brookside, Dream Teams, Holby City, and the voice of Thomas the Tank Engine for probably 3 generations at this point. It is Mr. Mark Moraghan! Yes. Yeah. Welcome aboard, everyone.
Chin chin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers.
Was that a strange joke on purpose, or was that just backwards?
Oh no, shit. Yeah, I genuinely wish I was that funny, but thanks. I should have claimed that one, really. Mark, thanks so much for coming in.
No, thank you for having me. Us.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Welcome them, it's fine. What is the thing that people most recognise you for, do you think?
God, it varies. You get Brookside, Dream Team, Holby mainly, they're the main three, I suppose.
Is there like a demographic? Is there one for every demographic?
Kind of, yeah. And Thomas, obviously, you get a lot of kids. Well, not so much, but there's a lot of kids and young adults on with autism who love Thomas. Yeah. And so I get quite a lot of those guys who recognise me as well. Amazing. So yeah, it could be anything and everything, really.
Quality, yeah. I wish we could all say that. We were recognised for loads of different and good things, but so be it. Right, let's dive in. We're going to be picking the best 11 of the Jurgen Klopp-era, brackets so far, of course. I want to get the opinions of our assembled guests. And first and foremost, I want to talk through some of the favourite wins under Jurgen Klopp, and then we're going to go position by position and pick that 11 out. So, Mark, throwing out there, one of your favourite wins under Jurgen?
Well, there's a few, but obviously the 7-0 against Man U was pretty good. That speaks for itself. But it wasn't the best game. But the 1-0 win against Everton in extra time, Divock's header, that's got to be up there. I mean, just because of the timing and everything else, that's definitely up there. But for the top for me is 4-0 Barcelona.
It's interesting, not to spoil other people's picks, but every single one of us picked Barcelona 4-0. I just think it's impossible not to, really, isn't it, Chris? Yeah. It's like forever written into Liverpool folklore, the folklore of the Champions League, etc., etc.
Exactly. I think the other thing is it's the occasion as well, isn't it? In terms of home games, that's the biggest you can do it in the semi-final of the Champions League, unless you somehow manage to get a Champions League final at your stadium. And even then, it's not going to be that amount of our fans in the ground, isn't it? So, it's the probably the one where everyone went to. In that, most people who go to the game that we know and stuff will have been at that Barcelona game. The fact that it's obviously the comeback and stuff like that you never really thought it was possible. It was against Barcelona. They had best player in the world, maybe the best player of all time in their side. They've just been embarrassed. Well, yeah, maybe. And I think for me, it's just that it was the atmosphere. It was the atmosphere that makes that the best win, because I've always wanted my Saint-Etienne or something like that, you know what I mean? My dad thought about it and all that type of stuff.
I get that completely. Yeah. I was in a boys' pen against Saint-Etienne.
You hear about all these unbelievable atmospheres, and I wanted my own. And
they only come around every 100 years or whatever. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that was one of those nights.
Did you climb out of it that night?
Did I what?
Climb out?
I did, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I paid 50 pence to get in the boys' pen that night. And I got over I lost my trainee, but fortunately somebody threw it over and I got it back, which is unusual in there because there was some right nutters in the boys' pen, But yeah, I was a regular in the old boys' pen.
I love the fact 50p to lock your child in a cage for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Wild. Now you can sit on the front row of the Kop. It's great. Dave?
The only left field one I thought was the Roma game, the 5-2, because at that point when we were 5-0 up in a European semi-final, I mean, obviously a year later we were 4-0 up in the European semi-final, having come back from 3-0 down. So, but it felt like the first time something insane was happening, and we had games like the Arsenal game in the 16-17, start that season when we went 4-1 up away at the Emirates. But that felt like the first real, just crazy moment under Klopp for me, where you were like, fucking hell, this isn't meant to be like this. I mean,
it's like all your dreams come true. The coach greeting was absolutely exceptional. We got in there and Liverpool were just absolutely electric.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And this is
it does set the tone, doesn't it? Those nights when it kicks off, the players must go in, feel like gladiators and think, we've got to do it for these fans, otherwise,
Yeah, we had a comment actually on that one from Cool Dude. Brilliant.
Actually, Harry Cool, do you think?
Yeah. It says, my sister is named Roma and is a United fan. That day was glory at its best. Yeah, there you go. The Roma, I had the Roma one as well. as one in there because I thought it was just an absolutely fantastic shout. Because you've got your favourite outside shout.
It always is. It's the Dortmund game at Anfield. I just love that one on the Jaggs. And again, the atmosphere for me was on a par with Barcelona. Like, it was just like, I just knew something special was going to happen that night. And it just felt like, there was, I don't know, I was like weird talking about it, but it was almost like a spiritual thing in the ground that night for me in Dortmund. And where I was not I wasn't in my normal place. I was in the Annie Road end, and it was just amazing down there. And yeah, and that game against his former club, I just think set the tone as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant one. Steve, did you have any others?
I went for the 5-0 at Old Trafford, actually, is one of mine. Just because it was Man United, and it was like that was one of the ones where there was no luck or fluke about it. We absolutely battered them, and it was kind of like a sliding doors moment of this team who just constantly made me miserable for like the entire growing up. Supporting Liverpool, was like fucking. It was always Man United, and then it was like that point where we just absolutely wiped the floor. And it was due. Our wins against Man United before that were always so big because like, as occasions, because they were rare. You know what I mean? It was like the Danny Murphys and the forwards, like these things. And this was just Liverpool rocking up to their gaff and just wiping the floor with them. And we saw the 7 the other day. That game, I think, the 5 that we had, that could have been 10. Liverpool took the foot off the gas because they had bigger fish to fry down the line because they were still trying to win everything. So they kind of let up. It was almost declared in that Old Trafford, which you just never ever see.
It was over at half time.
I think Salah was desperate for that. The second he got that, it was like, right, lads, we're sound. We just knocked the ball about. So that one, and then, I mean, no one's mentioned it yet, but like, my number one, and I can say that, was the final. Obviously, the Champions League final. It wasn't the greatest game, of course, but like, I actually think that shows a little bit of like how good we were. Yeah. That we just walked up to it. I mean, every time we'd won a cup final for all my life, it was always penalties or like it had to be this monumentous comeback or something mad. Something mad had to happen. We just stood up to the Champions League final and walked it.
We used to say like, my dad's Liverpool just won everything, battered everyone. My Liverpool won it in the hardest way possible. And then there was a Liverpool that followed, won fucking nothing and broke your heart in every possible way. And then Jurgen Klopp brought it closer back. It was a tipping point between breaking our hearts in loads of new and interesting ways, and then all of a sudden reached that zenith where they could beat anyone at a canter.
And it was important because he was getting this little bit of a tag of like the nearly man. Like, you know, he obviously done well at Dortmund and he'd won titles there, but like, big semi-finals, big
Klopp can't win.
Yeah, Klopp can't win finals, and I think that was starting to become a thing, given what had happened the year before. So to get that first trophy and to be at that one as well, that massive occasion. So I think that was just that set us on the way, didn't it? Because we literally went and won every single cup that you could possibly win after that. So that'll always be number one for me. I don't think you can ever win a Champions League and then not be the pinnacle. That'll always be the pinnacle.
Take some repeating, won't it?
Yeah.
In our lifetime, I can't see it personally.
No, and I suppose maybe you're right here, Steve, in that if we don't win that Champions League final in 18-19, does 19-20 happen in the way that it is? Do we get the Premier League win if we don't get that Champions League win?
Because we're always the nearly men. It'd have been like, haven't done it the year before, because I think he said, didn't he, there's a famous story after Kiev, when he goes round and says, right, next year we're going to win it. Yeah. And if you don't win it then, you can't do that again. No. You can't, that message.
Yeah, well, we'll get it next year.
We'll get it next year. You said it last time, fella. And we've just lost it. We've just got people like fucking Tottenham. So like you have to win that one. So I think that'll always be. It'll be hard pressed for Jurgen to overcome that in anything he does. The only way you can do it, of course, is if he beats a better team in a Champions League final. But that has to be the top one for him.
I mean, he said, didn't he, after losing to Real Madrid, he said we need to get better at beating teams when we're not the best or at our best. Real Madrid can beat teams when they're just playing very, very average, but we need to be flat out at all times, and that was what that team did, is that we got to tear up and effectively just go, we got a 1-0 win, and we're like, that'll do. We're 1-0 up, we've won now because you're not going to score against us, and at some point you're going to try and overextend yourselves, and we'll just we'll put the game to bed, and we absolutely did.
We've kind of lost that ability recently, I think, to close games down and to control games, haven't we? When we, if we've got the odd goal up or whatever, we just haven't been able to do it.
Completely.
It was just Virgil van Dijk going to Son, just like, scrappy do, where he just puts his hand on his head, and there's just nothing you can do. That's what we would do. That's what we just did for 80 minutes in that final.
Before we pick our 11 then, because I want us to come to like a unified decision on this as best as possible, how many places do we think are nailed on in this side? Well, by the time we come to the end, how many places do we think we can...
9.
7.
Mark?
No, I'll go with 9 as well.
I had 8, I think.
Okay, interesting stuff. Okay.
What about you?
I was going to go with less, if I'm honest, and then when I started to work it out, I think there's 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 7 absolutely nailed on, and I think there's up to 9 most likely. I think there's realistically probably 2 positions, and I think it's the left centre mid and the right centre mid are the ones. Oh, then again, maybe goal. And sorry, not goalie. Yeah. It's the other centre half of it.
Yeah, well, I had 8. I had centre half and 2 of them for midfield positions.
Okie dokie. Right, okay, we'll go through 1 to 11 then. We'll start at the back. Is there anyone who doesn't think that Alisson Becker is the best goalie of the Jurgen Klopp era so far?
Just Adrian.
Mate, even Simon Mignolet's like, pick him. Because Simon Mignolet was fuming, wasn't he? That he had that season with Carrius when he was moaning into the press, I should be playing. And then Alisson rocked up, he was like, Sam, I'm off. I'm all right. Can't argue.
See you later.
It'd be like, obviously, if I went home now and the missus were with Tom Hardy, I'd be like, yep. Well done, you. I'll pack my bags. See you later.
I am the best man for this job. No, I Tom. You're right. Yeah, so I'll jump to bring the kettle on. Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
I'll Claire, I love you. I completely understand your decision. I'm just going to go and see you later. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I don't think there was going to be any contention in that one, and I think the same goes. Are there any Alberto Moreno fans going to step up and try and knock Andy Robertson out of this?
Not today. I don't want to do it now.
No. Get Robbo in there, mate.
Even Moreno would be saying, get out to himself. Get out! Get out! Get out!
We did a video with, I think it was Enrique, wasn't it? And Moreno, were you there for this? Right, and the worst thing is, Enrique was there and he's going, and they were speaking Spanish to each other. Enrique says, he can't even fucking speak Spanish. He doesn't even make sense when he's speaking his own language. Like, what the fuck's he doing? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like...
He was a chihuahua with a hoverboard was all I remember Alberto Moreno for, and yeah, probably for the best. Bless him. Okay, so we're all saying Andy Robertson, left back.
I would think so,
yeah. And again, same goes for right back with no disrespect to someone like Nathaniel Klein, who I think was a very, very good right back. Trent?
Yeah, it's Trent, mate.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Don't drag it out.
No, I know, but you know, I mean, we're in a world where apparently Trent Alexander-Arnold's rubbish now, according to like the internet.
If he could defend like Klein.
But they've been saying that for a few years, haven't they? You know.
Yeah.
Good to see him at the AXA this week off his own back, though, training.
Was he?
Yeah, Paul Joyce wrote something in the Times about it.
Excellent.
And he was in there on his own. He'd been told he can have some breaks and stuff like that, and he went in there.
He was locked up. He was just in the car park.
No, honestly. So that's boss. He said he was just in there trying to work on his fitness and his defending techniques.
Ooh, very good indeed. Okay. The last of the absolute nailed on in the back four, Virgil van Dijk, left-sided centre half.
Clavan.
Yeah. It's interesting you should mention him. Dave, Virgil van Dijk. I mean,
you can't.
There's a little bit again this season where I think there's a few. I've noticed it, like Rio Ferdinand's trying to edge it in there. I overheard a conversation with Gary Neville and Carragher on a shoot a while ago. Like they've started to hear like little mumblings about Van Dijk and that type of player, and does that type of player get to carry on at the top level? He's even on probably his worst season that he's not been injured in. He's still the best centre half in the league.
Comfortably, yeah. You still look at he's contributing with goals this season, even when he's not playing well. And when you say not playing well, it's the levels that he's set in his time with us.
He's definitely struggled, hasn't he, since the injury? I mean, that must have taken its toll on him.
He got overplayed off the back of it because he was so desperate to come back, and then Liverpool end up in that huge season where you're not going to not pick Van Dijk, and he's not going to not pick
That's
himself.
pressure in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
It got to a point where we're in a final and he literally had to come out because he was knackered, and we hadn't really seen that before. But doesn't it? I mean, if this was an all-time Liverpool 11, he would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be in the conversation of Jurgen's best teams.
I think that's a brilliant shout, actually. Yeah. Okay, first contentious position of the night. Partner, right-sided centre half.
Matip for me.
Matip
because of what his goals.
Matip in his pomp.
Yeah,
it's no brainer for me.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I actually probably approached this maybe slightly differently to everyone else. I took the seasons
So in my head, I went, all right, Virgil van Dijk from 18 to 21, or 20, sorry, those 2 years where he played 38 games in both of those seasons, you ain't getting better than Virgil van Dijk at any point. And I think 18-19 Matip, for me, was better than 19-20 Joe Gomez. Okay. And Joe Gomez was absolutely fucking outstanding in 1920. But Matip, and I always remember saying this, Matip was better than Virgil van Dijk at the back end of the 18-19 season. And at no point, I think during 18-19, was Joe Gomez ever better than Virgil van Dijk. No. And the best version of Virgil van Dijk.
That's a really
good shout.
Point. Yeah, really interesting.
That's how I looked at it.
I wouldn't be shocked if Ibu's in this conversation soon. It's probably it's come a little bit too soon.
I think if we asked the audience to name their back fours, I think a number of people would put Konate in there.
Well, I would now.
Yeah.
You know, again, but that's purely on form, isn't it?
If we do this exercise in 2 years' time, I wouldn't be shocked if. I think Ibu's got the potential to get higher than what Matip got, but I think Matip. I think again it's.
You also need to win the trophies.
Well, yeah. Well, he's won 2, and he, but like you say, the lesser ones, lesser.
And he's still a young lad, you know. He's
plenty
still
of
learning
time,
his trade. He's got all the attributes there.
But I agree.
And you know, he's not yet in his prime, so I think he's definitely got, as you say, got the makings to be better.
Did you go Gomez? Sorry, mate.
I'd go Matip. We're a better football team with Joe Matip in. I love Joe Gomez. I think he gets absolutely slated by Steve Hoare unnecessarily, but he's an easy mark, Joe Gomez, whereas Matip is just, he's got everything, hasn't he? He's got the cult, he's got the cult hero vibe as well, hasn't he? You know what I mean? The fact that he's got all like the weird facial expressions and arm movements and all that to go with.
He screams at the grass. Not many footy players scream at grass or the sky. Like they normally scream at other people.
I think to consider that we thought he was a bit passive and he was a bit soft when we first signed him, and injury prone as well, and the fact that we got that last season in particular out of him in the quadruple season where he's just absolutely immense from almost start to finish, that's enough to tip it, because I don't think anyone else has put the consistency down. But
Gomez in the title winning side was excellent constantly. I think it's fair to say, but his downs have been lower than Matip's downs.
Okay, sound. I think Joel Matip is a pretty fair shout in that. Now, I suppose this will depend a little bit on what everyone else has done with their midfield. So what I'll do is I'll ask you to think about your midfield threes, and then we'll see what we come up with from that. I'll start with you, Steve.
Yeah, well, it's Fabinho because he's the only DM we've really had.
Talk about your three, though.
I don't know, I'm struggling, to be honest with you. I think I went for Fabinho, Wijnaldum, and then I really struggled because I think the best player is Thiago, but I had a real hard time leaving Jordan Henderson out as well for Everton. So Fabinho and Wijnaldum, I think, the issue is that Thiago and Wijnaldum both played kind of on that left hand side, so it's whether you move someone over. So I haven't really made my mind up on that other one yet, but I think it has to be Fab just because he's the only one we've had until this season as well. You know, this season's been an absolute shocker for him, but you could say that for a few of the lads whose names we mentioned earlier. But from the day we signed Fabinho for a couple of seasons, he was unbelievable, and he was everything we needed. Mm-hmm. We talked before about shutting games down. Mark mentioned before, a lot of it was due to him. So I think he was another one you mentioned before, like no-brainers. Mm-hmm. Fab up until the version we've seen this year, unfortunately, was an absolute nailed on.
Hit me with your midfield three then, Chris.
So I had Fabinho 19-20. I was just like checking my notes for the seasons. I had Fabinho 19-20, where he was the best DM in the world. Uh-huh. I had Henderson from 18 to 20. I think they were his two best years for us. Probably plays the most games in those years as well. And I had the 3 years of Wijnaldum between 18 and 21. I said I worked it out like slightly differently to everybody else. And I just think when you look at a short period or something, then you can go, well, did Thiago actually ever do better than Gini Wijnaldum did over a longer period of time, maybe? Thiago is a fantastic footballer. He's absolutely brilliant. I love watching him. He's actually one of my top probably 5 of the last 10 years to watch kick a football and the way he moves. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Whereas Wijnaldum was like there every single week, not getting the respect that he deserved. Like was he in the top 3 midfielders for the year we won the Champions League in the UEFA Awards or something like that. He was certainly
That
in the squad.
almost sounds like a fact
and
that we
all
could
those
have
types of
researched
things.
ahead of time.
Yes, could have.
But there's no way of knowing right
I'm
now.
pretty sure he was there. He was definitely in the squad for midfielders and all that type of stuff. He was unbelievable, Wijnaldum. And so for me, and also with a little bit of team chemistry in mind, and a little bit of, God, I wish we had that midfield now in mind. That's why I'm going for Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum.
Great, Dave.
I'm going to go a bit more insane here, and I'm going to omit Fabinho, and I'm going to pick the Brexit midfield.
Milner.
I'm going to pick James Milner because I feel that you can't pick an 11 of Jurgen's time here without the person who's made the second most appearances during Klopp's time, and that's James Milner. You think he's played left back consistently at times,
But we're picking a DM.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, okay, well,
Go on, give us your
so
three
you've
Millers in there.
You've got Henderson, Wijnaldum, Milner.
That was the midfielder that kind of was like unbelievable in some of the big European games as well, wasn't it?
PSG at home. Fabinho was injured, and those three were having to chase Neymar and Mbappe all day, and he did it.
I don't think it was a lot of people's first choice on paper, though, was it?
No, of course not.
You know, and
But-
they stepped up when it mattered.
Yeah,
but
that's
in terms of consistency, I don't think they'd have been on your team sheet
No,
every week.
it's the least sexy midfield that we could possibly pick.
How did Wijnaldum get into a Brexit midfield?
Exactly, yeah.
It's just
He's
ridiculous.
I remember that
Stupid.
being away.
The man's Dutch.
We were in Paris in the Parc de France. And people were from Brexit midfield.
Exactly,
It's got Chile Wijnaldum. It's not the exact opposite of a Brexit midfield. Yeah, he wouldn't be allowed in. He'd have to get a work permit to be in that midfield if that was the case.
It's the EC midfield.
Yeah. Mark.
Same. I've gone with Fab in the middle, but I've gone with Hendo. I just don't think you can leave Hendo out. And for me, the biggest miss of all for us, the last season, couple of seasons, is Gini Wijnaldum. I think his work rate in the middle, breaking play down and his distribution, everything about the way he played for us, I think we've really... There's no one in the squad like him. Yeah. And I think he's been a massive miss, along with Mane, obviously. But so that's my midfield.
I'd say for a couple of players, and obviously we're going to come on to the front three in a minute, but I'd say someone like Wijnaldum is... We say we're missing Wijnaldum, but I think we're missing the player that Wijnaldum was.
Yeah.
And obviously...
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I know...
But that's what we're picking them on, aren't we? We're
that's
picking
it,
on the players they were.
I totally agree. I think, again, as another one, I'd be interested to know what the comments think. If we took a straw poll of everyone, I think Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum would be the most picked.
I think Thiago will get a lot of love.
Maybe, yeah, with a bit of recency bias in that.
I think Thiago at his best is better than all of them.
Oh yeah,
it's just it's the in and out nature of it as well.
But he was playing for Bayern Munich.
But that's the thing.
No, I thought last season for Liverpool, the end of the pandemic season into last season, I thought Thiago was unbelievable, and there was games against Man City where he was the best player on the pitch and he was just running games. I don't think but then that was never the function of midfield. Jurgen's midfield never ran the game. Their job was to get the ball back and give it to the boss lads. So it depends what you're thinking. But I think as a player, I think Thiago's level is higher than all those. But if you're looking at a balance of a side, then he probably wouldn't get in it. But...
See, I think consistency is everything when you're judging world-class players. You've got to be consistent
on the pitch.
It's no good coming in and out. And unfortunately, Thiago, I love him as a player, but he doesn't do it often enough, and he gets injured. I know that's been a big issue. So that's the reason for me. He doesn't get in.
I think some really, really interesting shouts there. I
didn't expect to hear Milner.
Really?
I genuinely was a bit shocked by that.
I'm surprised
that's not like... I just didn't consider him, and then when he was like, he's got the second most appearances.
I think we lack a bit when Millie's in the middle. I think we lack a bit going forward.
I think we do now. We do now because he's 37 years old. But
if you had to pick a season for Milner, which one would you pick?
17, 18.
Yeah,
left back.
No, we played
most assists in the Champions League history. When was that one? Was that 17, 18?
That was
9 assists.
No, was that Robbo?
Centre mid.
Yeah,
I thought he played left back in the Champions League for that.
No, that was 16, 17.
17. The whole Jurgen's first season, he was a left back.
And then Moreno started the 17-18 season. Then he got injured, and that's when Robertson took over.
Into one, doesn't
it was Sevilla, wasn't it? I think it was the last time they played. But yeah, no, and Milner's a fascinating shout because, and this, I'll just cards on the table. This whole segment came out from a conversation me and my dad were having when he said, "What's the best midfield the Klopp's ever had?" And I was like, well, obviously it's Fabinho, it's blah, blah, blah. And he went, okay, well, think about some of the best performances we had. And then you go, okay, well, the Brexit midfield, no one's mentioned, and yet had a massive, brightly but shortly, but in some of our biggest performances, Oxlade-Chamberlain. In terms of because people remember the Brexit midfield and they remember the Fabinho evolution of that, but the best version of that midfield in between was Henderson, Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain playing in that team, or Wijnaldum as well.
17-18 before he got his injury.
Yeah.
It's funny, I did Journal Insight with Neil Jones, and we were talking about Milner's contract and stuff, and he did say, if you look back at all of Liverpool's greatest moments under Klopp, Milner was on the pitch. He's on the pitch at the end of the Barca game. He's the one he takes the corner that Origi scores from in the Champions League final. The big moments, Milner's always been involved in them, but it's often because he's come off the bench. It's hard to put him in the best 11, because I don't think Jurgen's ever. Other than the one season when he was left back, he's never even been Jurgen's first choice ever. That's why it's hard to put him in the side.
It's interesting. There's a wider point which we'll come to around the James Milner stuff, which I think might surprise one or two. So are we happy to lock in Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum though as our midfield today? Yeah, I'm reasonably pleased with that. And then I guess it leaves us with the front three. I mean, you say the front three and we automatically know what we mean.
Cody Gakpo.
Cody Gakpo! Does anyone want to make a case for any of the lads that are, other lads? I mean, Origi being outside shout. There's obviously Gakpo and Nunes that have come in.
It's too early for those boys. It's got to be Mane, Firmino, and Salah, hasn't it? It's got to be. I mean, you can't go any other way. The others have got time on the side for the future, but nowhere near ready yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think if Jota hadn't had the injury, he's either been knocking on the door of Fabinho's spot. Sorry, Firmino's shot.
Because if we're having Thiago conversations, we should be having Jota.
A couple of seasons of Jota. But because he hasn't been, again, same as the Thiago. Same as the Thiago thing, he hasn't been on the pitch, but it's that free. It just is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I decided to do, and I briefed just about this very briefly beforehand, I asked you all for 3 picks of your favourite Klopp games. Now, this doesn't necessarily prove anything, but I just thought it was an interesting exercise. What I did was then put all of the starting 11s from those games together into a table. So I think we can start with Steve, Joe. Yes. So Steve picked the Champions League final, Barca 4-0, Man United 5-0. The only players who consistently appeared across all of those games were Alisson, Robbo, Trent, Van Dijk and Jordan Henderson. Albeit Henderson played in DM in the 5-0, but played right side at centre mid in the other 2 games. We can go and have a look at Chris's now. Chris picked Barcelona 4-0, Man United 7-0 and Dortmund 4-3. There was not a single player that played in all 3 of those games.
Get on me.
Yeah, I know.
It was that Dortmund threw a spanner in the way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And robbed, and in doing so, robbed Alisson, well, actually not Alisson, robbed Robbo, Trent and Van Dijk of being the only players appeared across every single
Get on
pick.
me.
I went for Barca 4-0. I went for I didn't mention this before actually, Man City away 2-1 in the Champions League. Roma 5-2. The only players that consistently appeared across that, Robbo, Trent, Van Dijk, Milner. Milner played in midfield in all 3 of those games. And Sadio Mane, again, although he played on the right-hand side against Barcelona with no Salah. Dave picked Man U 7-0, Roma 5-2.
That is prime to be photoshopped, that, isn't it?
Alisson, Robbo,
that's a Photoshop dream, that.
Trent and Van Dijk all in their positions, and again Hendo, one of them in DM, the other 2 in midfield. And Mark went for Barca 4-0, Everton, Origi 90+6, Man U 7-0, and in yours, Alisson, Robbo, Trent Van Dijk and Fabinho were nailed on across all of those. So, bear with me on this because I realise it's a lot of talking. What I did was break that down by position in terms of votes. So,
what does it all mean, Basil?
The goalkeeper, in terms of the goalkeeper votes, then Alisson received 11 votes across that.
Okay.
Loris Karius appeared 3 times in those, and Simon Mignolet the once. Right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold got 14 and 1 for Nathaniel Klein. Where would that possibly have come from? Borussia Dortmund. Left back, Robbo, 14 votes. Moreno, 1.
Sorry, everyone.
Left-sided centre-back, Virgil van Dijk, 14. Mamadou Sakho, 1.
Sorry, Joe, you've had a lot more graphical work as well, haven't you?
Right-sided centre-back, and this is where there's more of a split. So there was 6 for Joel Matip, 4 for Ibu Konate, 4 for Dejan Lovren, who none of us even mentioned, and 1 for Joe Gomez. Into the DM, it's a landslide for Fabinho, it's easy for me to say, with 10, 3 for Henderson, 1 for Wijnaldum and 1 for Emre Can. Left-sided centre-mid, who do you think got the most?
Tall Millie.
James Milner with 10.
That was the point we made before, wasn't it? With the big games, Milner's on the pitch.
Absolutely. Jordan Henderson, 3. Gini Wijnaldum only made 2 appearances from the start in a left-sided centre-mid role in all of the games that we picked. Now, the slight caveat to this, because it's more for illustrative purposes.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not apples with apples.
He comes on against Barcelona, and Milner goes to left-back and Robertson goes out.
Does right, don't he, Gini, there?
He does have a telling part to play in that. Right-sided centre-mid, Jordan Henderson got 6, Elliott 3, Oxlade-Chamberlain 3, Lallana 1, Shaqiri 1, and Naby Keita got 1 as well. Really interesting to see Elliott actually getting, Elliott and Chamberlain both getting 3. I think it's quite interesting. Yeah. Elliott has been on the pitch for our recent big games, and Oxlade-Chamberlain in the 17-18 season, because of course he's Man City and Roma. Left wing.
But did Elliott's 3 votes not just come from three people picking the same game?
Possibly.
I mean, wasn't it just the Man United 7-0 that 3 people picked?
Yes.
Right, okay, so this is... Yeah, okay, sorry for,
sorry
for that, Paul.
This is not
I am absolutely pissed on your fucking stuff there, haven't I? That it makes no sense.
Left wing, joint between Sadio Mane and Shaqiri for your exact point there.
Barcelona.
Where every single person picked Barcelona 4-0.
Stupid thing to
Darwin Núñez 3, Jota 1, Coutinho 1. And then centre forward, Firmino 7, Origi 5, Cody Gakpo 3, and then Salah obviously dominating the right hand side with 9. But interesting because of the Barcelona one, Mohamed Salah doesn't get to clean up as much as other people because again he wasn't in the Barcelona team. Mane 5, Origi 1, which leads us to then just again out of all the games that you guys picked, the most votes at 11 across us was Alisson in goal, Robbo, Trent, Van Dijk, Matip as a back 4, Fabinho, Milner, Henderson, Mane / Shaqiri, Firmino and Salah. But yeah, I think it made an interesting point for the James Milner thing. It was interesting to see how that turned out because again, it goes back to Steve's point, which he brilliantly brought in the middle of this segment rather than at the end when it was meant to come. The James Milner has played a massive part.
He's just ahead of the game, mate. He's always been ahead of the game.
I thought that was really interesting that everyone goes on about Gini Wijnaldum, and I think the nostalgia has come back for him in a huge way. And I think there will be people. Thiago didn't play in any of the games that any of us picked. Not a single appearance for Thiago in them. I just think it's quite an interesting. Again, this is not a scientific approach. It's 5 people picking 3 games. Most of it is almost exactly how you would have it, but I did think that the midfield thing is where the talking point is because James Milner has been brilliant for Liverpool.
Wherever he's played.
Exactly. And Jordan Henderson, of course, has been an absolutely huge servant. Fabinho's been the DM when he's been on his game, but again, mentions for Oxlade-Chamberlain there, and again, I know Elliott doesn't consistently prove, but it is interesting to see a variety of different names show up in the midfield.
Well, that's it. All it says to me, to be honest with you, is that no matter what injuries Jurgen's had, for the most part, he's been able to get over it. Like that Barcelona one, when you've got Salah and Firmino missing and you've got to score 4 goals.
Robbo goes off in the first half, or was it half time? I can't remember. He's picked the injury up in the first half. And then he goes off at half time, doesn't he? Like he's been able to get past it with a boss squad, and that's all it tells me is that the whole time he's been here, pretty much he's had a boss squad, and he's been able to trust those guys, and that's something that his message is to those fellas all the time, isn't it? Next guy up, I trust you. You're part of my squad. Small group of people might not get on the pitch this time, but you will get on the pitch. That's all that all tells me.
That's why when you've seen likes of Elliott coming through, the younger lads, they put a shift in because they've been given that confidence, and Klopp's given that to them. So yeah,
it was a fascinating look back because I haven't really thought about Liverpool's team. I think you think of it as being one side. It was that start we were chatting about in the office earlier of the Champions League final. That team hadn't started a game together until the Champions League.
Even though it was
final.
Liverpool's best team.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you go back to, I go back to like Roma and Man City, and you know the team. You've got Wijnaldum starts DM away at the Etihad because Henderson's not available in that one. Oxlade-Chamberlain plays in both of them. Milner plays in both of them.
Wijnaldum basically had to practice against away at Goodison Park in that game, and at that point, I seem to remember we only had basically three fit centre midfielders, apart from add Chamberlain into the mix. But so we were going away and thinking, fucking hell, we're going away. We're playing a derby away, and we've got if any of our players get injured, we're fucked.
Yeah. He stuck Gini Wijnaldum to him, didn't he? Just so we go get ready to play that. And then even the first leg of that Champions League semi-final, Wijnaldum's up front on his own. Like, it's just mad shit's always happened, hasn't it? Like, with these Reds, there's always been, I know you often say, Paul, like, there's always a chance for a new hero, and that's what's often happened in these, Mark mentioned Divock before, and Shaqiri and all, your Chamberlains, and they've all had these moments. Costas has had one in a cup final. This has been the first season, really, and touch with the changes, when those heroes haven't yet emerged. And listen, it was about this time, pandemic season, when it's Nat Phillips, Reece Williams, Thiago team were kind of scraping Liverpool through. So, fingers crossed.
I cannot believe you've omitted Ozanka back from that conversation.
Yeah. I can because it's the
I forgot. No, I just forgot about him. But he was
just an interesting point though. The starting 11 for the Dortmund game: Mignolet, Moreno, Klein, Sakho, Lovren, Chan, Milner, Lallana, Coutinho, Firmino, Origi.
Gladiators, a lot of them.
Yeah. But it goes
That's
to
a
show
fucking shit in that, innit?
time changes, isn't
it? Chan does a little run to set up Origi's goal to start the second half. You've got Sakho scoring, Lovren scoring. It's fucking insane.
Mate, Emre Can was such a... I think if he'd have stayed, he could have been amazing for us.
Yeah,
I really do, because I think Jürgen would have loved them.
I asked the Discord, Club Legend Discord, for some of their 11s. Jack went Ali, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robbo, Fab, Gini, Hendo, as we ultimately went with Symes, Alisson, Trent, Lovren, Virgil, Robertson, someone who actually put Lovren straight in.
That's Symes.
Yeah.
Boot him out of the Discord. Lovren ain't making a Liverpool best 11 on the Jürgen Klopp, I'm sorry.
Jit says honourable mentions to Lallana, Coutinho and Milner. It is funny that, isn't it? Like, Lallana was very much, he's there in the title winning season, but he
more in spirit.
By that point where he's literally like, we don't want to get you injured, you can come along.
Yeah, that's the problem. Again,
he was wearing the mighty red suit, I think, for the final.
Great player, but just made a balsa with another one. It's a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh Hall says Shane Gomez picked up so many injuries after the title win, as him and Verge were a joke. Matip edges it for me. He's been so consistent the last few years. Last season he was as good as, if not better than Verge at times. So yeah, I echo in the sentiments of Chris earlier on as well. Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. Yeah, it was really interesting. I think again, there's so many absolutely nailed on ones, and I think we've got it right. But let us know if you disagree with anything wildly in the comments. There might be it might be like a FIFA or Footy Manager fan thing where one or two others might get in differently, but I think we've nailed. I think we've ultimately nailed that. Although James Milner will obviously argue.
Mate, after Jaggs' point and that point that we've just shown there, like, it's a strong argument to make for Millie.
So, are you giving Millie another contract?
Yeah.
Same. I'm good. I didn't expect that. I thought he might get something else.
Let him die doing the lactate test. That'll be the day that we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Bury him on the AXA. That's what I say. No time soon,
I kind of like him to be a coach afterwards.
Yeah, that's exactly.
He's going to do it every year anyway, isn't he? Like, you know what I mean?
He'll still be doing it.
Yeah. Sounds okay. Cool. We're going to take a very short break. When we return, we're going to be rating your football takes, but we have got an incredible live event coming up, and tickets are now available. Here's a little look at what to expect.
Hey everyone, come and join us for the very first Redmen TV Liverpool quiz night live at Hotel Anfield. On Friday, May the 5th, we'll be down at Hotel Anfield for an outrageous evening of Liverpool trivia, party games, amazing prizes, and incredible live music from Dave Jaggs of the Ragamuffins. Yes, hosted by our very own deadly duo, Mr. Chris Pajak and Mr. Paul Machin. We promise you an unforgettable Liverpool themed night it is the perfect precursor for the weekend's match. So if you're heading to our wonderful city for Liverpool versus Brentford, or if you're just looking somewhere to have an amazing night out with you and your mate, bring your trivia brain, bring your dancing shoes, and best of all, bring your shooting boots as well. So yeah, get your tickets now. Scan the QR code that's on the screen. If you go to ticketquarter.co.uk and just search for the Red Men TV, you can get them there as well. Or just find us on all of our social accounts and there'll be links there too. Don't delay, the tickets are going to sell out fast. There are only limited numbers as well. And best of all, if you want to get a group of your mates together, get on there. You can book tables and you'll get discount for buying as a group as well. So yeah, don't delay. Make sure you go and get them. Come and join us down at Hotel Anfield on May the 5th. It's going to be an absolute belter of a night. Make sure you're there. Go and get your tickets.
Yeah, tickets now available. You can scan the QR code that was on the screen earlier on. If you click back, that'll be there. The link will be in the description underneath. Check our socials, or you can go to
ticketquarter.co.uk.
Ticketquarter.co.uk. Well done. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We can't quite sum up what it's going to be like, because it's like a mashup of all the things that we've done before. We've done quizzes for years. We've never done them in public before. We've obviously done live events. Dave is going to be doing live music, and he's played with us plenty of times, so we know that's going to be brilliant. We've seen Chris jump around many venues over the years, so there's going to be a little bit of that. We've done Dizzy Pens on a number of videos. We're going to be bringing that challenge. Basically,
I can't wait for Dizzy Pens in a bar.
Yeah.
Just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You get one of those TVs, Robbo will kill you at the hotel. He's
Don't worry.
terrifying.
Just put the telly in the goal, and the telly will be fine.
So yeah, Dad, this is very much not your normal quiz night. So if you're looking for a bit of a laugh, you're going to be around ahead of the Brentford game, isn't it?
That's what you should have called it.
What?
Not your normal quiz night. I kind of like that as a name.
I think.
It's essentially
They called it the Liverpool FC quiz.
Yeah.
No, it pretty much says in the description. It's fine.
It's fine. Anyway, come, it's boss. Right, sound. Let's do some Rate My Takes then. People sent in their footballing opinions, and we're going to decide whether they're good opinions or bad opinions, because we live in a binary society on the internet. Right, Jed Freer, official club statistician for Liverpool Football Club, tweeted to us, David Beckham is the most overrated player in the history of football.
That's a big claim, man.
Most overrated.
Literally the most overrated. I always had a soft spot for David Beckham because, you know, as a metrosexual man, do people even still use that expression anymore? That was a very of its time Beckham expression. I didn't mind him getting, you know, pelters for wearing sarongs and having ponytails. Like, I mean, it was cool. But he wasn't fast. He couldn't dribble. He couldn't tackle. He was just dead good at crossing and free kicks.
Are you talking about Trent here or Beckham?
What? Oh, wow. Is your check bounced?
I'm kidding.
Yeah. I can't look. I thought David Beckham was a good player, but anyone else think he was a tad overrated?
He was loads overrated.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was
overrated.
He was in a good side, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's in a very good
So
side.
yeah, I think it's a good show.
Yeah, I'm there.
Most of all time,
No,
that's a shout.
Yeah, most of all time. Like, you can't.
I said that
Name
no
one
for
player
Be-
who's overrated more.
I said Ryan Giggs last week, didn't I? I might have to die on Mackle.
I mean,
I wouldn't agree with that.
No, I don't think that was.
Beckham
right.
probably was more overrated. But the flip
Can you
side,
name me one?
more overrated.
fucking Kabak.
Fucking Joe Gomez.
You made the song about him and everything.
Yeah, I know.
crap.
Yeah.
No.
Then he's right.
Yeah.
I think we're doing
If
it.
you can't name one that's more overrated than David Beckham, he's the most overrated.
So just say it nice and clearly.
David Beckham, Manchester United fans, is the most overrated player in football history.
Super.
Ouch.
Okay. Stephen Bierman, long time subscriber of the show.
Remind me to mute the words David and Beckham on Twitter.
you scouse bastard. Stephen says, Players should celebrate when they score against former clubs. I hate when they put their hands up and then get praise for being respectful to the former club. I'd respect an ex-Liverpool player more if they celebrated their goal. Although, you don't need to go full Adebayor. Emmanuel Adebayor went up absolute, stories in my estimation for running full length of the pitch and knee sliding in front of the Arsenal fans.
The way he was running like a fucking train.
Mate, I had so much respect for Luis Suarez when he celebrated in the Champions League semi-final.
I
know at that point you're fuming because he scored. I had no problem with it at all. I think they should. I think you absolutely should as well. I think you...
Especially if it's a really good goal. I mean, remember, was it Shelvey scored for Swansea and it was an absolute belter and you just like...
Mate, you did that thing before. You mentioned Roma, 5-2 and Mo Salah put his hand up on both goals. He's just scored in the Champions League semi-final. Get your top off, Mo, and get legged
around. You should have been standing in front of the Roma fans like this.
I want you to get yellow carded at this point right now. Don't miss the final.
Yeah. I mean, has Robbie Keane been able to celebrate against any football team? That's the big question.
He supported them all as a boy.
Yeah, I know, it's desperate. It's like, oh my God, who have we got this weekend? Oh, come on.
That's probably why he stopped fucking scoring goals. By the time he got to us.
Just getting up eventually.
Have any of you ever been, would you be bothered if an ex-Liverpool player celebrated against us?
No, they've gone. They've moved on, that's it. Goodbye. Once you've gone, you've gone. I'm not into all this, looking through rose-tinted glasses. Suarez wanted to go, see ya. Great player though he was, loved watching him, but he's gone. Bye-bye. Celebrate the goal.
I think it helped as well, to be honest. I think the Suarez stuff actually helped the atmosphere in the Barcelona game because the game starts with everyone chanting "fuck off Suarez" to him. It actually helped get our heckles up.
Stupidly, they put him on the kickoff, and then there was about a minute wait, wasn't there? And then the crowd went vroomf, jumped onto it and it was a booing and the hissing, and Suarez was in the centre circle.
Football's a pantomime. The only reason you wouldn't do it is if it was a club that's much bigger. So for Liverpool, I kind of get it because look, poor old Michael Owen, absolutely, he's in the running for the Hall of Fame, isn't he, at the moment? Him and Robbie Fowler, and it's a public vote. Michael Owen is never getting in the Hall of Fame, ever. Never. Who the fuck's voting for Michael Owen in the Hall of Fame?
Every single fan base hates him.
I think United fans would vote just to piss the Liverpool fans off.
Yeah. He's never. Michael
and then you got
Owen,
the odd Stoke fan.
Yeah.
He might be the best player they've ever had.
I just come on lads, who's voting for me? And it's like the Newcastle fans go, fuck off! And Stoke fans, oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah, I played for you, didn't I? He's played for so many football clubs and loathed by all of the fan bases. Yeah.
And Neville Southall.
Yeah. And the small child that was in goal in this soccer school.
He's 13 years old.
Well done. Right, okay, yes. Do we agree that players should celebrate when they score against former clubs?
I think you need to.
Yeah.
The needle's what we want.
Okie dokie. Chris _Dodsey. Bernard Diamed would have been a world beater if that overhead kick went in. How many people know what I'm talking about?
I do, yeah.
It got disallowed, didn't it?
It got cleared off the line, I think.
Cleared off the line. Then not me. In answer to you, how many people
know
what
you're
you're talking
talking about?
about.
I
thought it got disallowed.
I thought it got saved, but yeah.
It was about 2000.
It was a treble season.
2000.
It's in the treble, that treble VHS, the double VHS that got put out. It's on that, and that's like his literal.
I saw Seb Quartes scoring over there for Liverpool. I saw Christian Benteke score one of the best goals I've ever seen at Old Trafford. It makes no fucking difference. No. That fella was never going to be world class. He could have scored a worldie. Not happening. He was fucking useless, that fella.
For me, it was Lazar Markovic, if that one goes in and it hits the bar, was it? Sunderland, wasn't it? But also, having played in goal against Lazar Markovic, I know that wouldn't have made any odds if that had gone in. He was still shit. Because we did American shootouts. So you remember the one where he started and you run at the goalkeeper and I was in goal and I saved all three of his.
Are you joking?
No, all three of them. And we've got the footage, it's on our YouTube channel. And at that point I was thinking, what if Liverpool signed in? I'm not even a goalie. I'm just a fat lad in shorts at this point and I can save all three of them.
Yeah, it's telling actually almost like how their careers have gone. Is rated by how many goals they scored against Chris Pajak. Sterling absolutely had it off for all of them.
3 times.
Great career. Phil Coutinho somewhere in the middle. Didn't quite hit the heights.
It's true. Actually.
Jordan Ives slightly.
I think I saved 2 of Coutinho's.
Yeah, and then he tried to rainbow flick it over your head?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, big mistake. And Lazar Markovic got shut out. Okay, sound. Dave Jackson, Hanky DJ.
No relation. Different name.
Tangos with the best footies ever.
Yeah,
Tangos.
all day. All day.
Go on, Matthew. You're about to throw out like a...
No, I mean, yeah. Yeah, okay, I'll go with that.
Can someone explain?
See, I go back a lot further than you.
Go on, what would you go with? The original leather football?
I'm going with World Cup 1970.
The black and white
Okay.
one.
The black and white ball.
Ooh, yeah.
Someone explain tango to me, sorry.
Adidas Tango, where it's like the logos like that, and they had.
You might have had it in Sabutio, the orange
had-
and the white one.
We've got one in the building.
Yeah, I'm going to go with World Cup 1970.
And I'm going to add it with the orange version.
It's got to be the orange version.
Yeah.
Don't get enough orange footies no more.
It's yellow now, isn't it?
It's all this under soil.
The Premier League have the yellow ball still.
But that's,
Yeah.
But also, you don't see them very often, do you? There's not enough snow games anymore. They just melt the snow.
Shit in it.
The only curveball I'd say is the tricolour from the '98 World Cup, which was a beautiful looking thing.
There you go. It's one for the... Steve's got no idea.
No.
Just one of the fucking round ones that they kick in the goal.
I was about to say, when I was a kid, it was the mitre. It was all about the mitres. But
Bane of my life, then.
if you had a mitre, you were sound where I lived.
Listen, when I played as a kid, we used to head the knot in the winter, mate, and that, I tell you, give you a fucking big headache. So yeah, I flew some horrible balls in my time, if you pardon the expression.
Mate,
the Ultimax was that was a good one from like the mid-90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that a mitre?
The first Premier League mitre one, which is what they bring it back for this year, or was it last year? Nike did their own sort of colourway on it. Was iconic, but I don't know.
See, I'd love to see a retro ball from that era, from the 60s, 70s.
Black and white one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you obviously the modern day ball. I just think it looked great.
Well, they did that with one of the World Cups the year, but it was like a circle pattern. Was it the
I don't know what it's
20?
called.
Might be the 2018 one in Russia. I think they called it the Telstar.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know your balls, don't you?
I know me balls. Yeah.
Fan of balls. Right. I'm having tangos.
Tangos. Yeah.
No, anyone?
Yeah,
Steve's
go
got
on.
no fucking idea. Go on, Steve.
No, all I remember as a kid is that we had a mitre ball.
This is how the Lib Dems ended up power sharing with the Tories. They're not understanding the world enough.
We were only allowed to play with the mitre in the park when my dad was there because we had a mitre and we took it to the quickie car park and the big kids kept robbing it. Because it was rough where I lived. So we were allowed to play it with the flyaways and we could have the mitre on the park because someone robbed them. Yeah.
I'm going with Wembley Trophy. Did you remember? You wouldn't even know what a Wembley Trophy is.
The plastic ones?
Yeah.
Finger breakers?
Yeah, they were great balls. They were not playing in the street with all the kids. But they were everyone had the Wembley Trophy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't remember them.
That's gone.
Yeah.
That's it. We've got a generational split. It's
Yeah.
fine. Right, Andy Reid says Stevie G is the best midfielder to have played in the Premier League. No debate on this. Bang. Name me a better central midfielder than Steven Gerrard.
The best thing every one of your midfielders who you're thinking of, everyone at home who disagrees, the best thing your midfielder could do, Steven Gerrard could do it better and could do about 100 other things as well.
And score goals.
And he was everything. He was everything.
The amount of people who absolutely shag Yaya Toure because he had a couple of seasons where they'd let him loose from DM and he'd run down the pitch with the ball and everyone would go, wow, Yaya Toure. And Gerrard did that for like his entire career, pretty much. Obviously, Roy Keane, class, but
never scored.
Didn't score goals. Patrick Vieira, unreal. Gerrard would lose out to them sometimes in one-on-one confrontations.
I always used to make me laugh, the comparison with Lank Frampard and Gerrard as well.
Yeah.
Just don't see it.
Now, as far as all-round midfielders go, I'm struggling to think of any midfielder, not just Premier League, who was as all-round as Steven Gerrard. Because it's all like, look, I love Pirlo, but he couldn't defend as well as Steven Gerrard could.
Wasn't as aggressive, wasn't as fast, wasn't as mobile.
Didn't carry the ball. Yeah.
I always say about Gerrard, put him in any position on the pitch, he'd have been the best player.
Yeah.
But he won games single-handedly, didn't he?
He
Consistently.
win the Champions League final at right back, and then he goes and plays right wing for a season and scores 20 goals. Goes and plays number 10 and unstoppable, plays centre mid. And yeah,
The header in Turkey, that was just colossal, that header. We were dead and buried, and he just lifted the whole stadium. that's probably one of the best headers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's funny,
Well,
For me, for what it
un-
meant and for what it led to.
his ability in the air was unreal. I mean, thinking about like, I think we won was it 1-0 game against Marseille at home. He's just like he's just beating someone. I used to score goals for fun against Marseille. There's the one when he's behind him and he does that thing where he. Yeah,
incredible. We had
we can wax lyrical about Gerrard for.
I was at the Legends game at the weekend, and there were, like how long Steven Gerrard not been playing for Liverpool for now? It's been 7-8 years, and there were kids aged 10, so they'd have been like 3 when Gerrard was like at Liverpool just coming to the end, and they were going mental for it. It was like Beatles mania. Like like I think sometimes because we grew up, he was there for the entire time watching Liverpool. Maybe underplayed that a little bit. Like he's seen as like an icon, you know what I mean, like an absolute star. There was kids, like he got pictures down the side of the pitch, like of the pitch, and there was kids crying, and they're like 10 years old. It's like you've never seen this fella before, but he's a superstar.
Yeah, genuine superstar of Liverpool, best player I've ever seen. I mean, we often debate, like I'd say Suarez was genuinely magic, brightly but shortly, but again, Gerrard, as far as midfielders go in the Premier League era. Because you're right, everyone else you name them, and again, I'm sure the comments will be filled with Scholes's and Lampards and Keanes and Vieiras and all that. And as you say,
De Bruyne
will be the modern one. And I've seen a lot of it, like, well, De Bruyne's got more assists or goal, whatever, than Gerrard. It's like, yeah, I know, mate, but again,
he didn't have David and Gog on his own up front.
Here's the other thing, right? De Bruyne's not a centre midfielder, but when Gerrard played the season in De Bruyne's position, he scored well more goals.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a superstar.
Indeed. Gerrard, best player, midfielder to have played in the Premier League, without a doubt. Okay, sounds. Oh, I'll do one more.
I love a new.
I was going to do 2 more, but I'm going to do 1 more at a time. Ian Redmond says the 2018-19 team is the best Liverpool team of the Klopp-era.
What's this?
The 18-19 team's the best team in the Klopp-era, Steve.
Disagree.
I'm going to go for the team that pissed the league with a bazillion points as the best team.
It's not. I don't think it's an outrageous shout. Because you win the Champions League that season and you get 97 points that season.
Yeah, we did.
Right, so it's not an outrageous shout that was fucking brilliant. But also, 1920 we won, was it 26 out of 27 games to start the league season? We get 99 points, we win the Premier League for the first time, and we dominated Atletico Madrid in a quarter-final in the Champions League. Where we had 34 fucking shots, 11 on target. Oblak was the best player I've ever fucking seen for a game. We had Adrian in goal, so it wasn't actually our first choice goalkeeper. And had that even if we just got Alisson in goal, we might have won the European and Premier League double that season. So I think I am going to edge it to 1920. But I don't think it's an outrageous shout that 18-19's up there for 97 points. I'm
going to throw something at you then. So, if Simon Mignolet had been in goal for that Atletico Madrid game, would he have made the same mistake that Adrian made?
He'd have made a different one.
He'd have made a different mistake.
Cruyff in there, centre forward, the 6-yard box.
And if Karius had been in goal, he'd have passed it out.
Completely different one, yeah.
Mignolet would have been stuck on his line when the lad was running through, rather than being 7 yards out the box. Just like Mignolet would have been like, oh, silly me, I was meant to say that.
Yeah.
Mark, want to throw a shout in 18-19, 19-20?
I'm going with Chris.
No shots.
I mean, I'd say
mate, last season,
I was going to say last season we literally almost did all of the things that we've just listed.
I think
it's a tight call, isn't it? But I think Chris is right.
Yeah.
1920 is number 1, and then I think you can debate last season's team and 18-19 as second place.
I think the only thing is Fabinho was a much better player in 1920 than he is 18-19, because when I don't think was it he didn't start away at Munich, did he?
He starts centre half at Anfield because Van Dijk's out.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think Salah was the best player in the world 1920 as well.
No.
And then he had a little bit of that year after, but like Salah around the time when we're just pissing it was just unstoppable.
I would agree with the 18-19 shout in so much as it literally got enough points to win the title in all but the season we won it the next season and the season City won it that year and the 100 points one, and it won the European Cup. So I'm happy to say 18-19 was the best Liverpool team, but But I mean, Jesus Christ, we're debating 3 seasons here. There was the season when we got 97 points and won the European Cup. There's the season when we won the league in January. There was the season when we nearly won the quadruple. The fact that we can pick 3 teams in a 7-year period as potentially is, it's a fair debate. I'm going to agree with Ian. Stay.
No, I'm going to go 1920.
I'm going to go a sort of...
Yeah, I'm going to sit on the fence.
Yeah. I don't think it's an outrageous shout.
It's not a bad shout. Horrendous.
Okie dokie. Right, cool. We're going to take one more quick break to tell you about Redmen Uncensored, which is to come as well this week after this show, before we look ahead to Man City versus Liverpool.
Hey everyone, this month's prize for our Redmen Plus Club Legend draw. We're not just giving one thing away, we're giving 8. We've got 8 6-packs of these amazing Liverpool beers, presented by Carlsberg for their 30-year partnership with the Red Jet. We've got Ian Rush, Johnny Barnes, Sammy Ippy, Robbie Fowler, Jamie Carragher and Lewis Garcia. If you want to be in the draw to win one of these 8 6-packs, then all you got to do is head to redmenplus.com, sign up as a Club Legend subscriber. You get loads of perks, you get free merch, you get discounts off other merch, you get access to the Discord chat, free tickets, loads more, but most importantly, you'll be in the prize draw at the end of March, and yet you could be one of the 8 special winners of these amazing 6-pack of beers. If you're going to do it, make sure you drink responsibly, make sure you're over 18 as well, but yeah, redmenplus.com, sign up as a Club Legend and get your hands on one of these amazing prizes, hopefully.
When Balotelli was there, he only used to eat ice cream. Ice cream for breakfast, ice cream for lunch, ice cream for pre-match meal.
That is a
Get his
revelation,
ball of ice
isn't it?
cream and off again. Nicest celeb I've ever cooked for, probably Tom Hardy.
You should have gone first.
Yeah.
The celeb story.
I'm going big. I've got some big names up there. I've got a Meryl Streep. I've got
way!
I've got Sean Bean. I've got I've got a few.
Let's stop
players.
at Meryl. Let's just have a Meryl moment. What was she like? How was it? I want to know everything.
Young lad, 15 years old. I had to grow up fast. My first week told how to go and roll joints for the chef, so I was just sent to the back to roll joints. Do you know what I mean? That was my job.
Don't chefs go to like Paris to learn the trade?
No, in Liverpool they don't now. We're in a better place now. The industry's in a better place.
Slightly
it's
less sodomy.
It was well, I mean, less sodomy. God, yeah.
Head chef comes along, fucking massive kitchen knife, straight into me foot, through me trainer, stabs me.
He's laughing as if, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
duh.
yeah, I've seen that too.
Your foot on the sink.
Yeah.
It's a stab-worthy offence.
Yeah.
Yes, Redmen Uncensored. It's not your usual football podcast. In fact, there's very little, if any, football involved in it. But if you want to have some interesting stories and wild conversations from ourselves and our guests, then do check out that show. If you want to get it, go to redmenplus.com. If you use the code TMP when you pick a club captain subscription, you get 50% off for 3 months as well. So you can get involved. Check all of those shows out. This will be episode 9 this week. So yeah, loads of them to fill your eyes. And he is
an actor and a musician. That should be some good stories. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all I'm focusing on is he still didn't put the percent after the 50 in the graphic.
Come on, Joe. Yeah, passing the buck big time.
Well.
Right. Oh God, here we go. Man City, Liverpool, 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Mark Moraghan. We've got 9 huge days of football coming up. We've had a little break. How are you feeling with the Reds coming back?
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and the fact that we've got, hopefully, Diaz, if he's not playing, he'll be on the bench, so maybe come on and score 2. Wishful thinking. No, but yeah, I'm excited for the weekend. I just think he'll give us a lift. The fact that he's back training with the squad and hopefully get a run out. So, yeah, I'm optimistic. I think we might just sneak it.
Interesting stuff. Dave Jaggs, how are you feeling?
It feels like a bit of a free hit, but I think the break will have done us better than them, because I think off the back of the Bournemouth game and off the back of them having 2 really good results in cup competitions, you wouldn't have been wanting to go straight into playing there. Yeah. And obviously, what's happened to Foden, but it's undoubtedly like an excellent player who'd have caused us problems. He's not going to be playing. I mean, unless there's some sort of placenta surgery that has been taking place, I think it's unlikely he's going to be sort of.
There's
on the
got
pitch.
to be a rule in football.
There's got to be. I mean,
if you have an organ removed at any point in the prior week, there must be a rule that says you can't play.
You've got to
and if there's not, someone make that rule. You have an organ taken out of your body, you are not allowed.
Protocol.
We have a concussion protocol. There must be. Someone took a piece of your body out of your body, you are not allowed to play. If he plays, it's the greatest Pepism of all time. We've been absolutely playing.
Alex Ferguson hands his Hall of Fame place straight to Pep Guardiola instead, and just like this. Claps him off.
I mean, speaking of which, obviously, I think we'd all be very surprised if Haaland doesn't make a miraculous recovery and play and start. But yeah, I feel more confident playing them now than we would have.
Chris Pajak, do you still think we're getting twatted?
I do not think we're going to win this game, unfortunately. I think, that's head over heart type of things. I think there's a possibility that Liverpool can go and do it, and I think the tactical sort of thing is really interesting between Guardiola and Klopp, but we're away from home, we're not very good. Early kickoffs, we're not very good. After a big break, we're not very good. And we're playing Manchester City, we're very good. And it just, I obviously want us to win, and I hope that we win, but I just can't see it happening. And I live to be proved wrong.
See, I can't go into a game thinking like that.
No,
I won't. As the day will come along, I'll get into it and I'll be like, you know what, we can get into it. But right now,
I can't, if you think that I'm not going to watch it, I just think, go home and knock one out or something.
What happens if we win?
Don't do that, we're on the show. I'm on the show with you. That'd be an awkward Saturday morning. Do the watch along on that.
I was talking about woodwork in the shed, actually.
How do you feel?
I'm all right, mate. I think I'm more along the lines of that. I think we do well against City in general, as in like getting. I've got a feeling that this season, a lot of the problems has been mental and like a confidence thing or like an attitude like psychological thing, which I think, by the way, is a horrendous thing to say. But like I think that we've seen that because everything the players have told us is that. Alisson mentioned it recently. Trent mentioned it recently. A lot of it's been like up in the head. I get to get up for City. They really do. They always have done it. And listen, City have battered us at times. They've played us off the park, and this season already we've beat them. They've beat us. So it's proven that we can all do it. So I don't know if we'll win, and I think we can. But I don't think like we're gonna be sleepy Liverpool. The early kickoffs a lot. Liverpool have been sleepwalking. They sleepwalked against Bournemouth. And they thought, oh, this is too easy, because they were going to, they had one cleared off line, it was just relentless, and then they fell a kip. I think playing against City kind of focuses your mind. It doesn't let you have those switch off moments, because if you switch off,
and if Haaland is injured, and he doesn't play, which I think he will, but if he doesn't play, that's a big miss for them. And I think that'll really lift us, and it'll have the opposite effect on City. So it's a lot hinging on
Foden's a big blow as well, because
exactly,
he's been really good.
We know he's definitely not playing, and if Haaland doesn't play, that's two massive players for them.
He's often picked Foden against us. He's off, and he scored.
And he's almost the backup plan. And I mean, I know they'll have Alvarez, who will just, of course, click into gear if needs be. I'm certain of it. But when they pre-Haaland, Foden doing the false nine and stuff was very much an option for how they go about doing the other thing. So
because they play Foden through the middle, and they'd have Jesus on the right.
Yeah.
Because he always played Jesus on the right against us, didn't he? Because he wanted the speed there, didn't he?
I don't think this isn't the City side of last season. And listen, we're not saying Liverpool will get that, but Erling Haaland's done a lot of fucking carrying this team, and he's been amazing at doing it. But like, I don't think they're as good at the back. I think there's weaknesses that we can exploit against them. I'm with Mark before. Like, if Liverpool are going to get top 4 this season now, it's those front 6 players are going to carry us there in some shape or form. Jota has had a couple of weeks back where I'm hoping like he's a semblance of himself. Obviously, then I thought Gakpo's been really, really good recently, so more of him. So I think that we've got the firepower to go up against.
We've got impact players there as well on the bench.
Yeah, the bench is key. We go back again to the end of last season. You could bring 2 of those on every time. Now we've got 3 of them. Yeah. So if we start, my guess is he'll start Gakpo, Salah, and Nunez. And then on the bench, he's got Bobby, Jota, and Luis Diaz. That's like there's something to be said for that, isn't there, as well? So
yeah, and again, being able to keep Nunez on the pitch or bringing someone else, and I do think he'll be a little bit soon for Diaz, but if we can get back to that kind of situation, because it's almost been like the games where Nunes has come off in recent weeks, where we've been chasing at the Real Madrid games, and you're thinking, it's almost like, it's not like waving the white flag, because we're bringing good lads onto the pitch, but you lose his dynamism and his pace. We don't seem quite as threatening when he's not on the pitch, and that we now know. We obviously had a knock in the Bernabeu. He's been struggling with the shoulder thing, and he had a cut on his ankle as well, apparently. But this is the game where I want to see him really stretch them, because if we're rebooting, we're going back through the process to being a counter-attacking side again, you know, and that's where we can be a real danger. They're going to have the ball, they're going to want the ball, you know, they're one of the few teams, you know, who consistently want to go and have more possession than Liverpool in the game. So we've got to make sure we obviously keep the door shut, but if we can just,
when we beat them earlier on in the season in the league, it was the ball from Alisson to Salah, wasn't it? It was that quick break. It was just one kick down the pitch, turn the goal.
I think for us, it's all about tempo when we play. If we're not playing at high tempo, we struggle. And I think the whole team have got to be at it, certainly against Man. And I think when we put teams under pressure, no one can live with us. Yeah. When, you know, going back a season or two, that's what we did, and we haven't been doing that. No. We started to see glimpses of it in the last few games, and that's what I want to see: the high press. And you know, and really putting teams under and having a go.
These 3 games coming up, I don't think Liverpool will win all 3, and I do think it's possible that we could. But what the messaging almost is, and we've done this a couple of times this season, but you know, maybe we're repeating ourselves. Maybe this is the stupidity of me falling in, the romantic of me falling into the Liverpool and footy and all that. But you're saying these are the games where you lay your marker down, because these are the teams you're going to be competing with next season. Yeah. And if you're still here the season after that and season after that, these are the brilliant teams in the Premier League.
And they're often the games we get up for, and we struggle against the teams lower down the league.
These are the ones where you say, you can go and get a result against them. I want them starting next season going, fuck, we've got to worry about Liverpool again. And it doesn't have a great bearing, but there is a psychological benefit there to being able to go, if we can come in and we can put a good showing in against these teams coming up, then it stands us in good stead. The opposite effect is also true if we get absolutely trounced in these 3 games, which I wouldn't expect against Chelsea, but City and Arsenal certainly could do that to us. It could have a negative impact, but Klopp doesn't work like that, does he? He's all about the positives and the opportunity that these present, not here's the fear factor and here's what could happen if it all goes.
My thing with the 3 games as a whole is more around like with a cat who's lost 8 lives. In terms of the race for the top 4, there is just no fucking wiggle room anymore in how many points we can afford to lose.
That's pressure in itself,
and that makes it really difficult for a team, doesn't it? And that's where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, does Klopp go kind of conservative in this game and try and get through these 3 games, or does he have to go at it?
No, I think he's
I can't see him doing that.
And that's why.
The last teams I can think of when we've felt like we've had a real battle to get into the top 4, but we've been successful. Were, funnily enough, the season before Istanbul, when I think we had a run in, but it was crackers. We had to go to Old Trafford, and we went there and won. I think we had Birmingham City away, which at the time felt like a real sort of the real sort of bogey team for us. And then it got to the last game of the season. We only needed a draw against Newcastle.
What the fuck do you remember?
Mate, honestly, mate, stats away. So and then the pandemic season. You look at it coming towards the end of the season. You've got Old Trafford away. The cancelled game and everything like this. You've Alisson's header with like in the dying seconds.
We could really do with. Again, this is about going into the summer. I don't know whether we'll finish top 4. I believe we can, because I'm a hopeless romantic ultimately. But ultimately, we've been here every break we've had up until this point. We've gone, this is the chance to settle down, reboot, just work on the training ground and come back. It'd be foolish to think Liverpool are going to win 12 games, you know.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
No, you don't. But the problem is that you do need to, if you come out with no wins in the next 3, then you're fighting against the psychological hump of that. I do think it's possible now, and but I think we all need to get excited about it. The season feels over. We were talking before. It's like it's done. We're all ready for the summer. We're all waiting to see whether FSG are going to pull the finger out and buy the players required to make sure Liverpool can compete again.
But for me, though,
the season's still
again talking about the injured players coming back, because that has been a big problem for us this season. The injuries have killed us. That's not the only reason, but the fact that we've got these players coming back, that gives me renewed optimism, because I think, and if we get a result against City on Saturday, that can give us a big bounce for the next few games. And because we've got big sides on the bounce, then they'll get up for those games. If we were playing like, I don't know, Wolves or something, or Aston Villa, then we could get beat.
Yeah.
But I think because we've got big games coming back to back, then
You can't take your foot off the gas.
Exactly.
It's
and
weird.
I think that'll help rather than hinder
It's
us.
very counterintuitive, isn't it? But I do actually agree with that point. I want to ask, because it's being billed as like a bit of a title decider, and with Arsenal to come next weekend as well, that'll play a part in it. Who would we rather then win the league, City or Arsenal, independent of these results, I guess, but as a feeling of preference, Steve?
City, because they take it off them in a few years' time.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Arsenal. I kind of like the footy that they're playing at the moment. I like the way that they've built the club up properly again. I think it's good that for all of City's spending, sides can still go and win the league, and that be that Liverpool or be that Arsenal, that's competition. And I don't like it when it's boring and the cheats with loads of money win it every single year. I just would rather anybody win it than the cheats, to be honest with you, because they shouldn't be allowed to be in the league.
Okay.
So yeah, for me it's Arsenal all day. Easy.
I'd say Arsenal because a lot of the reasons Chris mentioned in terms of the players they've got, people like Saka, they're very likeable footballers really, and obviously, but there is that sort of nagging little thing of thinking, why couldn't we have had this City in one or two?
Yeah.
I mean, if let's be honest, if we'd have had this City, we probably wouldn't just have had the league. We'd have probably had the quadruple as well, because we'd have been able to rest players and in the run in.
It's a good point, that.
Same Arsenal. I just think, if they can go out and win it and play going against teams with all the money, it's good. It's good for the game, and it's just nice to see another team, because who wants to see like Scotland Celtic winning every? I don't want to watch that every season. So it's nice that it's getting handed round to different clubs, and it also it's a bit of a dig in the face for City and for anyone, and for Chelsea and for the ones who've got oil money backing them.
Yeah.
And we did it. With FSG. So that for me is a better scenario.
It shows you can make a big step as well, because did Arsenal finish 8th last year?
They were bottom of the league at one point.
Yeah, it's like unreal.
It's probably a one-off,
So for them to make that leap and go from potentially 8th to 1st, that shows you can make a huge leap in one close season.
And we're a prime example, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've gone the other way.
Yeah.
Look, as a football fan and someone who likes footy and I like stories, and you're right, I like the likeability of Arsenal's players, and Saka's brilliant. I love the fact what they've done. I agree with the points Chris has made, that Arsenal have done it the right way. They've obviously thrown up money to get the players in, to juice themselves up to get to that level, but they've got a good coach, they've got a young progressive team, exciting, full of energy. They've managed to get buy-in from all the fans, and again, they haven't had to have bottomless resources to do it. I think that's very admirable. And as far as for us as Liverpool fans, we should be looking at Arsenal and going, well, look, Liverpool getting sold, looks like it's fallen through. Investment might come, who knows, none of us do. Arsenal could be a shining example for us to say, well, Liverpool, with a couple of the right signings in the summer, can get right back to being title challengers again. However, I agree with Steve in that so much as if a case is being built against Manchester City, I think it plays better that they've dominated, than they're winning 4 or 5 titles, rather than if Arsenal win it, it's 3 different winners in 5 years or whatever. It looks like a more competitive league, which it technically would be. And there's a little part of me that wants all the spotlight to be on Arsenal. People like Arsenal now more than they like Man City. And if they get pipped by City, I wonder if just that tear of public opinion finally, where everyone goes, fucking City are horrible, aren't they? And that might be a thing that just stops them from being able to hide behind all the other bits and pieces. But there hasn't
been a lot of anti-City
rhetoric
feeling even among everyone, because it was against us, and it was the lesser of two evils. Man City winning it was the lesser of two evils. I don't think everyone I think you're right. Everyone quite likes Arsenal. There's a couple of Tottenham fans who might disagree with that, but overall, Arsenal well liked. So I think
I like 10 of the 11 starters.
When City become when City become like the bad guys, it will it might sway people more into hating Man City and building this case against them. So And also, it'd be really funny if Haaland scored like 50 goals in the league and didn't win it. That'd make me laugh as well.
Yeah, fair. Okay, back to our game then. Any big decisions for the manager this weekend, Chris?
How he sets the midfield up is going to be interesting. Is obviously with Bajcetic being injured until probably next season now, and how I've done a show that's coming out tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, a bit of a preview, a tactical preview, and we've done a show deep dive as well on Red Men Plus that looks at the running in depth and detail. They're really good shows actually. Josh was fucking outstanding on them. But one of the things that I think is important is they always overload the right back. I think last time we ended up with Milner there, didn't we, rather than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, that right-hand side for us recently has been Trent Alexander-Arnold, probably Harvey Elliott and Mo Salah. And I think that's where we're weak. Now, thankfully, you know, Foden's got that injury, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for them. But for me, it's, can you afford to put Harvey Elliott in that position there when you know they're going to target your right back? So the question mark then is, who plays that right side of the midfield?
Our best games against City recently, actually, I think Naby's played there.
Yeah,
I think I'm right in saying he played for Guinea and then wasn't training today.
He got took off at half time for Guinea.
I've got to be honest, I'd be disappointed if his name was on the team sheet.
No, I don't think he will play, but I think against City, we've gone with it's Thiago, Keita, Fab, and it's because legs, it's been energy against them, and Naby's done those shuttles to get over there and protect him. But like I say, if he's not fit, I think it's a huge call to pick Elliott. Like, it's fair fucks if he does. Like, that means that is saying before, what's his approach? His approach is we're going that way against them. We're going to try and score against them.
He did play Elliott in the cup, I think, against them. But we got beat.
Bajcetic in the DM in that game.
Yeah, but that was a bit of a mistake.
And we got beat.
That was just and that was just after the break, wasn't it? Where players were still away and stuff. But
I agree with you.
I think
Elliott started the home game, didn't he?
Elliott started the home game. Yeah.
I think it's a big call. I think he probably will do Elliott as well.
I totally agree with your point there. I think we played them at the Etihad last season and we played Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, and their midfield just had too much guile for us. And I think that is what informed Keita then starting the FA Cup against them. And that's why I think he will be brave, but it means that Jordan Henderson plays left of the midfield, I would guess, because I'm not sure. I mean, it's in.
I'm okay with that. Actually,
and I think he will, and I think because bravery and trust is all part of the cold Klopp thing, isn't it? I think if you turn round to Harvey Elliott and that and say it's James Milner, Henderson, and Fabinho in there, I'm not sure. I think that's a backward step.
I think again, intensity is a big thing with that midfield. Yeah. If they're at it, I don't care who you put in there. If we're at it, we can do a job and get a result.
Yeah, I think that's the real interesting call. And then
up front's a call as well. I don't think up front should be nailed on. I'm not just dismissing Lewis Diaz starting, by the way. It's just I wouldn't be shocked if he trains.
I don't think having trained. Well, yeah,
okay. 3 days training.
But training Thursday and then starting half 12.
I see him coming on for like 20 minutes.
I think that's what's going to happen, but I wouldn't be like
when did he start training?
Away. He's full. Yeah, but that was the first 15 months.
Yeah, they won't train properly tomorrow. Day before the game.
Well, he's been at the AXA for a couple of weeks. Like he's it's just that the team have all turned up to train today after the internationals.
Any shouts for Artemello?
Yeah.
Remember him?
Hang on, is he fit?
Yeah.
He's not fit.
Must be.
He's fit.
Is he?
He is fit.
He was fit last week, wasn't
he? Yeah, just he wasn't.
Is he really?
Yeah, he wasn't even in the squad because we were out of it. Yeah, he was training today, Arthur.
Right side of midfield sorted.
Hey.
I feel sorry for the lad because he's had no luck, has he? No. But yeah,
that'd be
that would be wild.
Before when we saw those unsung heroes, there might be an half a mellow goal this season.
Well, there's always something too. We always say Klopp tends to go with the lads he's had training during the international break. It's a Milner used to always.
That's why he always starts after the international
break. Milner would always start
after
the international break because he's been there the whole time. So it might be a Milner. It might be Fabinho, Milner. Elliott as a midfield based on that, and Artemello still not getting in because no one knows
who's
who
up front.
Really
is it? Are we thinking Salah, Nunes?
I think there's maybe an outside shout for Bobby, but
I think he's not been well.
Yeah, Gakpo played for Holland.
Gakpo played
it'd be
after
fine.
he was sick, didn't he?
Yeah, he come off the bench on Monday, I think. But but they love Gakpo, don't they? And I think he's such a good player. I think it's
the type of game as well. He could, you stamp put your mark down and go, I've arrived.
It's the pace thing, isn't it?
Darwin's pace, I thought, caused him. Was at Anfield the first game. I thought, I know he didn't score, but I thought he put the shits up them a little bit. He kind of kept Kyle Walker pinned in, so. Yeah, I can see Nunes having a good game.
And again, the Diaz thing. Diaz had Walker on toast, didn't he? Again, both in that game in the league and then at the in the FA Cup as well. But obviously a bit early.
The Diaz thing for me, I don't think he's going to be right for a few weeks anyway. And I've said that a couple of times now. The big impact Diaz is going to have is on that left-sided forward. I think because now you've got Luis Diaz in training, and you think, I need to fucking make a difference in these games. So if Diaz is on the bench, I expect Nunes to have a fucking good game if he's on the left wing or something like that. And whoever's there over the next couple of weeks, I expect them to be looking over the shoulder thinking, I've got to perform because this lad's coming straight back in if I don't.
That's the way it should be, shouldn't
it? Yeah, absolutely, completely agree on that. I mean, we happy, I guess, Canate centre-half?
Yeah.
He's had really good games against these. I mean, to be fair, Gomez was good in the league game. But Gomez being good in that league game is what everyone says. He was really good against Man City, and that's kind of like the pillar of what everyone's been. That's what Joe Gomez could be. Yeah. I think Ibu's would be more, and he's been equally as good against.
There's one slight outside chance, and I wouldn't do this personally, but there is something to Gomez at right back, maybe. Yep.
If you're worried about, though, left wing for them now with no Foden, any one of them, Grealish, Mahrez, Bernard, there's loads of them. Yeah.
See, I'm amazed. I know, I mean, this comes up quite a bit. I'm amazed we haven't seen Trent in midfield and Gomez at right back.
Yeah.
I don't know why we haven't tried that.
I just think it's an availability thing. I think if Calvin Ramsey had been more available and if Gomez had been more available, and Gomez has been available, but he's been playing centre-half. You know, he's been that covering thing. I don't think you could make a shift and say, we're putting Trent in midfield.
It's a big call, but I just think Trent could do a good job there.
I do. Yeah, I tend to agree on that. But will he do that away?
No, it's not going to happen, is it? We know that.
Saying it, he could go front four.
He's done it before against City.
Yeah.
He done it against Real Madrid. Didn't work. No. Didn't score a goal.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, it was a bit more like that against Salah. Basically played more central at Anfield, so he might do something similar again. City have been doing wild things where they've been playing like three at the back and stuff in recent games as well. So
yeah, we look at City and what they do on tomorrow's deep dive, 8 AM. So one of the ones I talk about is where they start Bernardo Silva left back against Arsenal, basically. It's really interesting what he's been doing to get like an overload in the middle of the park. So yeah, check that one out tomorrow morning, 8 AM.
Pep's been pepping.
Pep has been pepping.
Pep gonna pep.
Just over to the Club Legend Discord, Deb's Disney desk, because I would fucking love it if we win Saturday, take the full 3 points from City to stop their title challenges for a change. I'm kind of here for that against all my points.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, cool. Let's get some score predictions. Mark, what do you think?
I'm going to go 1-0.
Nice. Dave?
I think if we win 2-0. I think it's you get a goal sort of mid-second half, hold on, and then hit him on the break with a clincher.
Love it. Chris Pajak, how many are we losing by?
I think we're going to draw 2-0.
1-1, I thought.
I do think we're going to draw this one. I think we're going to draw this, and everyone's going to go, advantage Arsenal, and then we're going to draw it against Arsenal.
So I think we're going to beat Arsenal.
No impact on the title race whatsoever, other than stealing a game from both of their lives.
I think we're going to draw with City, beat Chelsea, beat Arsenal. 7 points from the free. I'd bite your hand off for it now.
Yeah,
I think we're going to go to Stamford Bridge and win. And I've got no issues playing anyone at Anfield. Doesn't bring it on, not a problem at all. But yeah, this Etihad away, early kick-offs, there's a lot of red flags.
Yeah, it is indeed. Okay, brilliant. Well, there we go. Hopefully everyone's feeling a little bit more upbeat and positive around that, including Chris Pajak. Good lad. Thank you so much, gents, for joining us for that. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to drop a like. And subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. If you want to come and check us out doing Red Men Uncensored, where we chat more life in a free form, uncut way, then come over to redmenplus.com. Do use the code TMP on the gaming screen. Well done, Joe. 50% off for 3 months if you use the code TMP on a Club Captain monthly subscription. We hope to see you over there. Other than that, that is Pint for this week. We will return 7 PM next Thursday. Hope to see you there. Hey everyone, thanks for watching that show. Did you know if you go over to redmenplus.com and sign up as a Club Legend subscriber, you will get access to our amazing Discord chat, 20% off merchandise, live tickets every year for free, plus all our incredible content, and you'll get absolutely everything right as it happens. So get over there and do it.